Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Hey Ocarina. Today's episode is going to basically be a video response to Adam Koralik. Every month he does a video that shows all of his pickups and stuff, and I figured that'd be a cool idea, to kind of do that, just to be able to say, oh, this is what I got this month or whatever, just be able to look back on it. So I'm going to go through all the things I got in this pile here, and there's a few things off to the side, and talk a bit about, where I got them and all that stuff. So first up, I got Crash Bandicoot 2. I picked this up at a half-price books in Iowa. I was visiting some family there. It was pretty fun. So I got that there. I also picked up Resident Evil Director's Cut. Both of these were pretty cheap. Usually half-price books is a pretty good place to look for older games like that, especially these greatest hits games, because usually they'll be a couple bucks cheaper, than the black labels. And I know a lot of people, myself included, usually I don't get the greatest hits editions, just because they don't look as good on the shelf. But in this case, they were cheap enough that I decided to just pull the trigger. Now, another game I got in Iowa, I picked this up at a disc replay in the mall. It's a 3DO game. I don't actually find 3DO games very often. This is PO'd. Basically, from what I understand, it's a first-person shooter where you play as a chef. So, the aliens take over the ship, and rather than a big buff space marine or something taking on all of the aliens, the only person left is a chef, and he has to kick some ass and take names and stuff like that. Right now, I'm not able to play this because I'm trying to find a way to play the 3DO through S-Video on my HD TV, and I'll have to buy a scaler or something like that, because right now I don't have anything to do that. So the next pickups that I'm going to show you I got at the Let's Play Gaming Expo in Texas. First up, this is a Virtua Fighter Remix. I got this for, I think it was $2, because the guy said it might not work because the disc was a little scratched up. Ended up working perfectly though, so I was pretty happy about that. Then this is Nights into Dreams. This is a really cool Sega Saturn game. I'd honestly say it's probably the reason to own a Sega Saturn, if I'm going to be completely honest. It handles 3D really well, and it came with a 3D controller here. I already had one of these that I'd gotten at a convention way back in the day for next to nothing, but this one it was bundled with the game, and I just decided, because the only other controller that I have is the launch Sega Saturn controller, which is not very good, the American launch one. So I figured, I get the extra benefit of having, another controller with a stick in case I want to play a two-player game or something like that with someone. So yeah. Then for the Sega Saturn, I also got, this is Mansion of Hidden Souls. I had this game for the Sega CD, and my friends and I, it's kind of like a cult classic for us, we'll quote the Sega CD version a lot. But with this version, the story's a little different, which was kind of unfortunate, because I was expecting there's a really cheesy line at the beginning of the Sega CD version, and that wasn't in this version, unfortunately. I'd like to pick up the mouse for the Sega Saturn, because this game is pretty much it's a point-and-click adventure, so I'd like to get that, just so that I'm able to experience it, in a better way or whatever. Then another thing I bought at the convention was this is the Sega Genesis 6-button fight stick. I picked this up for $5. It was beat to hell when I first got it, but I, cleaned it up a bit. So, yeah, it looks a lot nicer now, that's for sure. And what's funny about this, when I was taking it apart, is it feels really heavy. It's got a lot of weight to it. But then if you look at the bottom, all this is here is just a metal plate. And that's literally where, all the weight on this thing comes from. So I just thought that was pretty funny, Alright, next up, another convention pickup. I got this is a 4X memory card for the Sega Dreamcast. I had a third-party one, but it was kind of a piece of junk, if I'm going to be completely honest. And I just wanted something, that I could be sure wouldn't get corrupted or something like that, you know, because those a lot of those third-party memory cards are known to do that. All right. The last thing I got at the convention was Cosmic Carnage for the Sega 32X. This is a fighting game that it's classic game room. Mark, he talks about that a lot. Personally, I didn't really I didn't really like it, but it was a 32X game, and I just figured, you know, I don't get to pick anything up for it very often, so I just get that, you know. Then I got a Xbox One game. This came before Gamescom, so it ended up just being kind of funny that I got this, you know. I got Recore, and literally like a week or two later, they announced the definitive edition of Recore. So I was at first kind of like, oh shit, you know, I bought this thing that's not gonna have all the DLC with it now. But then they announced that you're gonna like you get the DLC for free basically. So I was pretty happy about that. So it's Recore. Then I got one import game. I'm trying to get all of the original Xbox exclusive games, you know, regardless of what region they're in. So I picked up, this is Shin Megami Tensei 9. This is the first import game I have for the Xbox, which means, unfortunately, since it's region locked, I can't actually play this. But at the very least, you know, it's a cool looking, you know, game. Has a really nice manual, and I even like the discs over there were like a little different. They had like this reflective thing on them. I don't know, it's pretty cool. And then finally, I picked up the this is the Mass Effect N7 edition for Mass Effect 3, and I more or less got this because I'm replaying or playing for the first time rather the Mass Effect trilogy. I had played Andromeda over the summer, and I really liked it, but I figured I'd, you know, try to get into the original trilogy that people have always talked about so much. Yeah. So, another thing, I didn't get as much this month as I would have liked to, and that's for a good reason. I pre-ordered the Xbox One X at the end of, it's been like 2 weeks now, I guess. Yeah, it's been 2 weeks since I pre-ordered that. So I had to square away a bunch of money for that. I had been waiting, you know, I've kind of been rationing, you know, how much I've been spending so that way I'd have enough to pre-order it when they launched those. And it's just crazy because, you know, they announced the thing in June and then they just finally got around to it in August. So anyways, thanks guys for watching. Feel free to check out any of the other videos that we've posted and check out Adam Korolick's channel. He does some really cool stuff. He does you know, like restoration videos on old systems. It's been a lot of stuff that I've used, you know, to clean up the older stuff that I have, and I think he's a really good resource for stuff like that. Anyways, guys, see you next time.